fights with passion, and he inspires.
Are you ready for a war?
All right, welcome back to From Arbitration. Hope everybody's having a fantastic day, Tuesday. Did the episode yesterday, so if you're listening to this one and didn't hear the episode yesterday, make sure you go and listen to that. Got the Table 2 carriers on the CLC slate. You'll really enjoy that. They did a fantastic job. So if you didn't listen to that one, go back and listen to that one. And today's going to be educational. I will have the Wolf on for just a few minutes. The lottery came out as far as how the numbers are going to be on the ballot and the names, 1, 2, and things like that. And so he's going to talk about that a little bit. Educate yourself on that. Make sure you get the CLC slate. We will have a mailing, so you'll have that in hand. And then we'll just be spreading the word, okay, to all the carriers, spreading the word about the reform slate. He talks a little bit about that. Mostly I want these episodes to be educational. I'll do the political stuff on the other ones. Sunday we'll have 4 of the business agents that are on the CLC slate. They're going to tell you who they are, what states they cover, which is very important. A lot of people don't know what states their business agents cover, and so or what region they're in. And that's just the cold hard facts. CCAs and Table 2 hadn't been around very long, may not know who your business agent is. So that will be very educational. And then we'll just keep doing it like that until the ballots come out, all right? And so, but we'll keep educating on here. Even when we win, I'm going to keep doing From Arbitration every Sunday. Every Tuesday, I'm going to do a live Zoom nationwide for you to hear exactly who I've been talking to, the legislation that's going on, things that may be coming down the pike. So we're going to start doing that as far as transparency is concerned, because I know the city letter carrier wants transparency, and you're going to get it with us when we take over, okay? Couple of things today. I'm going to go over 2 or 3, okay? And then next Monday we'll do the same thing. I've got so many things to get to, but these 2 may be a little lengthy, but I don't want these episodes to be too terribly long because I don't want to start losing attention. But one of the things that we're going to talk about is, first one is attendance, okay? We've got some attendance-related stuff. And sometimes attendance looks very bad until you start getting into it, okay? And that's kind of how we're going to be here. But I'm going to have, just like I said, some scanner stuff, some attendance things, and maybe another thing, all right? First off, I'm going to let you hear from the Wolf, and then I'll be back on the other side of it with a few educational things, all right?
All right, I got the main man, the next president of the NALC, the Wolf, James Henry, on today. It's only educational episodes, James, but we've had some things happen here recently, and I know you wanted to jump on real quick and talk to your people, but the election committee has come out, the numbers have been drawn, and so a lot of people that aren't aware of the process, you wanted to get on and talk a little bit about that, and also the slate.
Yes, good afternoon, good evening, good morning to whoever is listening with my brothers and sisters, letter carriers. As always, it's good to be on with you, Corey, and to be able to address our people. It's important that everyone know that we're in the home stretch right now, and it's critical, it's crucial that everyone educate themselves as to who the individuals that are running for each and every position for the NLC. The CLC has a slate, and with that slate, it's important that you know who the president, executive vice president, the director of city delivery, the assistant secretary treasurer, the secretary treasurer, the individuals, all the way down the slate, and including the MBAs for your particular area that you deliver in. So the CLC, the concerned letter carriers, we have been making advertisements in the postal record. Be on the lookout for the upcoming one that's going to cover both September and October editions. We'll have a advertisement in there with our slate and a voting guide for you. In addition to that, we want you to be on the lookout for our organizers and our volunteers that are going around to different areas handing out material and a documentation that has a voting guide that you can take a picture on your phone, post on your refrigerator at home, whatever you need to do to keep track of it and make sure that you are well aware of each and every single name that the concerned letter carriers are fielding for these national positions. And you need to understand this very, very simple concept. It makes no difference as to what our platform is if we can't execute it. And we have to be able to execute it by having our entire slate in there. This is one of the reasons why it is not ideal that you have other individuals running solo, because they essentially are lamed up. They can only do as much as the executive council does. And if we get all of our people voted in from top to bottom, we're able to effectuate the change that we are talking about, and that is reform in every sense of the word. And it gives us at least a fighting chance to be able to bring home the bacon for the letter carriers. We believe that, again, that letter carriers should be the industry leaders when it comes to wages, benefits, and working conditions, that we should not have a segment of our craft that is woefully underpaid, and overall letter carriers are underpaid. But in particularly those that have been hit the hardest, we recognize that the Table 2 carriers are suffering the most, that you're not getting full colas, that you're getting these diet colas, that we don't have an all-career workforce, which makes a huge difference in terms of you being able to have benefits that the other career carriers have, such as your sick leave, such as retirement benefits, and all of those other things that make a difference. So please join us with this movement, making sure that we are able to have a living wage, that we are able to make sure that our letter carriers, our brothers and our sisters, are able to get from hire date to retirement date. So definitely be on the lookout for anyone passing out our materials. Look out in the postal record for our advertisement, and please keep track of it. Take your phone, and then you also can go on concernedlettercarriers.com. We have the voting guide posted there as well. Because you got to remember, yesterday, the National Election Committee did a ballot lottery, and they drew names to see what position that the names would be placed on the ballots when they're mailed out for voting. And the names are in various positions. Some of them, depending on how many were nominated for each individual position, range from being number 2 down to number 7 on the ballot. So you have to read each name to make sure that you get the correct individual that is associated with the concerned letter carriers, the CLC. So again, make sure you keep copies of it by taking a picture with your phone or carrying it around with you. So we want to make sure we get that information out to you, because it is important. So the elections, ballots, more than likely are going to be going out within the next month. So keep looking out for it, and we're going to continue to go around and spread our message of reform throughout. Myself and Corey will be in Missoula, Montana this coming weekend. And as we say, it don't matter if it's 2 or 2,000. We love each and every single letter carrier.
Yeah, that's true, my brother. And what you're talking about with the numbering, with the drawing, like your trustees, it's imperative that the 3 trustees on the slate, the CLC slate, get in, because you know that they are those that will hold people accountable. Unlike the ones we have now, you've got Howard Khomeini, John Cruz, David Grosskopf, and they can be anywhere from number 1 down to number 9. So it's important that you understand who is on the CLC slate. Make sure that you have those things that we're going to mail to you, the postal record. Get those things, hand those things out. I know we have a lot of people handing out things on back docks. And to make sure that you're educated on who is on the CLC slate. You talk about a reform slate. I say it's militant. People get scared of that. Militant, y'all are going to be... Well, militant, if you look up militant in the dictionary, it just means aggressive and active. And that's how we're going to be in everything that we do. It says it describes a person who pushes hard and fights fiercely for their beliefs. And that's what we're going to bring to the table when you're talking about education, James. The way that you're going to attack education on the workroom floor would definitely be aggressive. The way we're going to attack the workroom floor as far as the toxic working environment, you would definitely say that that's aggressive, how your mindset is on that with the dogs of war. Politically, legislatively, you and I have talked about it a lot. We're going to be much more aggressive than we are now. We're going to be definitely pushing hard and fighting fiercely for the things that are going to benefit the city letter care legislatively. We look forward to that. And so, yeah, that's the reform that we're talking about, is get back to where we are aggressively protecting, fighting for city letter carriers on the workroom floor and also legislatively and across the street. So,
absolutely. And we cannot underscore or overstate that more. And again, it doesn't matter what anyone says. Block out the noise like we have been blocking out the noise. We're about the positive change. Our message is purely about the letter carriers and progressing the lives of letter carriers. So stay focused as we are. Stay disciplined. Don't believe a lot of the nonsense that you hear. Please pay attention and do your own homework, and know that the concerned letter carriers, the COC, we're the ones that have your back like vertebrae. Anyone else is just more of the same, because if it was about the objective, about making sure that letter carriers have a living wage and all those other things, that message would have been conveyed before, and it wouldn't be just individuals coming out in the last 3 weeks to a month. We have been, as I say, out here on the road, going here and there and everywhere, whether it's 2 or 2,000. Like I often say, we're not new to this. We're true to this. Our convictions and our actions stand behind what we believe, and that means we believe in a better way and better life for the letter carriers. Light blue is what we bleed in our love.
Yeah. Well, all right, my brother. You'll come back on next week, all right?
No doubt, man. Without a doubt, everybody be blessed. Take care.
All right, brother. We'll see you, James. See you, bye.
All right, bye. Bye.
All right, that's my main man, the Wolf, James Henry. So, again, make sure that we're ultra aggressive as far as getting the word out about the CLC. A few more weeks, all right, and then it's on. Got some attendance I want to talk about, because sometimes they make it look like it's terrible. Sometimes it is terrible, but sometimes they make it look like it's terrible. And it's up to us. It's up to us to make sure the arbitrator are aware of, hey, look, at first blush, this doesn't look too good, but let's break it down for you. And that's what we're going to do here, because management sometimes, justice delayed is justice denied, like they say. They will go great lengths of time before they issue discipline on attendance. Sometimes they do 3 months. How many occurrences in 3 months? Of course, there is no set occurrences in any time frame. There's no 4 in 3 months, 3 in 3 months. That's something that they've come up with. We have no set number. Is it basically looking at dates, what happened? Okay, so if management says, hey, we got 3 months, this district has 3 months or 3 occurrences in 3 months, no such thing. That's not contractual at all, okay? But this attendance here, they have 4,000 sites. They got all the contractual provisions in this II. Verify your contact information, what your name is, your mailing address, your contact number, all these things. Then they've gone in and taken stuff out of their, like their ERMS call-in log and things like that. You got over 3 days, medical documentation and other acceptable evidence, failure to furnish required documentation. PS Form 3971, show your unscheduled absences, is not IOD, not FMLA. Unscheduled absences have a negative effect on the Postal Service and can cause undue usage of overtime or penalty overtime to cover your assignment for the day. Unscheduled absences could also create situations where your fellow coworkers may be overburdened in order to cover your absences from work. Do you understand? Yes. That's part of having Section 5 of the ELM benefits. That's part of the benefit when you negotiated that with us. Our benefit package was our ability to call in sick. And so if you're going to say that it's an undue hardship now, then you need to renegotiate to take sick leave away from us. But since you have negotiated sick leave, then you would have taken all those things into account, that you're going to have to cover me when I'm sick, when I'm incapacitated to come to work. If those are going to be issues now, I'm sure that those things would have been brought up when you negotiated our benefits. And so I don't ever like when they do that, because you've negotiated the benefit of me taking sick leave. And so I would address that just in my contention. So we get into arbitration, I'm going to show them, here's Section 5 of the ELM. It covers benefits. Why? Because this is a benefit to me to be off sick when I'm incapacitated. But here's the thing I want us to look at on this one, okay? The first occurrence is 1/22/26. 1/22/26 is the first occurrence cited on this disciplinary investigative interview. The last occurrence is August 7th, 2026. August 7th, 2026. So you got 1/22 down to 8/7. January to August is the time period they covered. You've got 10 occurrences in between January 22nd and 8/7. You got 10 occurrences. All right? So they're going to do that to make it look like, my God, that's so many, because you got 1/22, 3/13, 3/28, 4/21, 4/22, which we would consider one occurrence because it's together. 5/12, 6/10, 6/11, that would be one occurrence since it's together. 7/30 and 8/7. So just based off of dates, it's 10 dates. Not just occurrences, because we can knock that down to probably 8 occurrences. But just off of the dates, that's 10 occurrences from 1/22 to 8/7. Now, if I add up those days, right? If I add up those days from January 22nd to 8/7, August 7th, that's 196 days. Now, when I do it, I would go from January 1st to the end of August, because you started in January and you ended in August. But I just went in between those 2 dates. So you can get a lot more days just by going through January through August. But I just went from 1/22 to 8/7. That's 196 days. I made the most occurrences, 10. You can knock it down to 8. But with 10 occurrences, during that time period, this employee was at work 95% of the time. There's no way possible that you can convince me that you're irregular in attendance with 95% attendance rate. Make sure that we're doing those things when we start going through these sick, especially sick leave, when we're going through these things when they issue this discipline. Here's an employee that they're saying is irregular in attendance. They've had 10 occurrences from 1/22 to 8/7. And they've shown that during that period of time, they're at work 95% of the time. Now, I could probably jump that up to 97 if I took all the days in January up to all the days in August and knock that down to 8 occurrences. But I'm just going with the dates that are cited. So you got 95% of the time I'm at work. Now, if you look in the JCAM, and I'm going to start arguing these things when they do this under attendance-related discipline, when they wait so long. Okay? If you go 3 months, 4 months, whatever, 8 months, I'm going to go to the JCAM, the very last sub-question of just cause. Was the disciplinary action taken in a timely manner? Sometimes in attendance, arbitrators won't consider that, but when it goes to such extreme lengths as 8 months, I'm going to argue this. Disciplinary action should be taken as promptly as possible after the offense has been committed. Now, when was the offense committed? Most of the time, I'm going to say from the start of that first one. from the start of that first date, right, 122, you waited 8 months gathering up days until you thought that it was enough to issue discipline. That's not how we're supposed to do. Very first sentence in the administration of this article, a basic principle shall be that discipline should be corrective in nature rather than punitive, right? To me, you're not being corrective when you wait long enough, so many months, that you got enough dates to where you can finally issue me discipline. When was my attendance review? I'm going to request that. It's not in the II. When was my attendance review? Not just official discussion, but my attendance review. Why? Because when you have an attendance review in accordance with the ELM, Section 5, you're going to go over the 3972, the 3971. You're going to address those things. And even if it did happen, which more than likely it didn't, you're still looking at 95% of the time I'm at work. Okay? There's a great arbitration site that will help us in these. Normally you don't use them in attendance, but here I will, because you're going back and you're asking me, can you remember on 122 why you were sick? Now this is August. This is August. Can you remember on 122 why you were sick? No, I can't. Well, here's the 3971. Well, it says on there I was sick, but honestly, I don't remember. I was sick. Then you got annual leave on here. 122, annual leave. And she said, don't recall annual, maybe annual leave on here. Sick leave, sick leave, sick leave, sick leave, annual leave in lieu of sick leave dependent care, and sick leave regular. And so I'm going to say I have no idea. That's 8 months ago. No idea. Here's a good arbitration site. It's Arbitrator Shedler, Schedler. Arbitrator Shedler. And it's from way back in 1982, and it's my very favorite one when they're dealing with things like this, when they wait so long. And it's 01261, C01261. This is what he said. In the usual grievance, a delay in presenting charges can mean the loss of evidence to the aggrieved. Memories fade with the passage of time. Witnesses become difficult to locate so as to reconstruct the events in question. A photograph of the scene taken weeks later may be inaccurate as to the conditions that prevailed on the date of occurrence. In my opinion, a delay of 47 days in presenting a letter of charges is too long, and I find that the employer has violated Article 16 of the National Agreement. Well, here I'm going to say the same thing. He says 47 days in presenting the charge. I'm going to say waiting 196 days to question me on why I was out either sick or annual would fall under this purview, right, under this arbitration. In the usual grievance, a delay in presenting charges can mean the loss of evidence to the aggrieved. Memories fade with the passage of time. And so, to me, you violated my due process by waiting so long to even question me about January 22nd when it's August. And so, those are arguments that we're going to raise, okay? Sometimes at first blush, it looks bad. Sometimes it looks bad. Break those things down. If you say, man, I got 10 occurrences. Well, they're in 8 months. So, you've been at work 95% of the time. I'm going to say you're doing a pretty doggone good job, okay? And then just the regular things. Was documentation presented? Was it acceptable documentation? Again, I'm not going to consider anything they say about a hardship I've caused by using the benefit of mine. If they don't want it to be a hardship, then you need to renegotiate Section 5 of the ELM, okay, where it talks about a benefit. Because if I'm using a benefit of mine, then what's the issue? So that's where I would start on that one, okay? Next, what do we got? I've just got so many screenshots. Now here's something else that somebody had written, and a lot of great responses to it, but here's another angle that I'm going to take on this. It says, today I had a manager follow me for the last 2.5 hours of the day, okay? She followed me in the office until I clocked out and walked out with me. On the back dock, she started up conversation, began trying to coerce me into answering questions about an upcoming arbitration case. I was clocked out, but still on postal property, the back dock at the time. After 30 minutes of trying, she realized I wasn't agreeing saying what she wanted me to. She revealed that the whole conversation had been recorded without me knowing. I told her that I disagreed with what she was trying to get me to say and that I did not consent to being recorded without prior knowledge. Now, I've already addressed recording, taking photographs. I've got numerous episodes on that, and that's how we'll handle them recording us. Now, she'll lie about it. Also, you require me to work off the clock because you're questioning me about work matters after I've clocked out. I'm going to file a grievance on that. Maintaining an atmosphere of mutual respect, I'm going to file a grievance on that because you took me outside, you were questioning me, and then you were recording me. And so that's going to be a section 115.4 of the M39 handbook. Also going to file on you recording me. Also going to file on you having me work off the clock because if you're questioning me about work matters after I've clocked out, if you followed me, that's a form of harassment, and you're requiring me to work off the clock because we're talking about clock matters. But here's the thing that I'm going to do. If you've got an arbitration case, and this has happened with me before when I was an advocate, if you're doing anything and management starts to question your witnesses on the floor about what they're doing or what they're saying, I'm going to contact labor for management, and I'm going to bring that up to the arbitrator. So as a carrier, if you're going to be a witness and management comes up to you starting to harass you about your testimony, I'm going to call the advocate immediately on our side. Whoever the advocate is. If it's John Doe, I'm going to call John Doe and say, hey, I know you're doing this case. Management after work has come out here and they're harassing me about the arbitration. We can get that handled. I promise you that. We can contact the business agent and they can get in that ass. Okay, so if that ever happens, and it does, obviously I'm reading this to you, but it's happened to me numerous times where I was doing an arbitration and the witness would call me and I would get a hold of the business agent and we'd get with labor and they will address it. I'm telling you, labor's not going to put up with it either. They're not going to have it because they're not going to have anything compromise their position in arbitration. And I will bring that up to an arbitrator, that my witness was harassed by management about this arbitration. I'm just going to do that. And so, but that's how I'd handle that. There's a lot of grievances there, right? Just one afternoon in 30 minutes, you got 3 grievances and a call to labor. Here's the last thing I'm going to talk about. And I've got a lot of stuff, so it's going to be a lot of, and these things I've covered a million times, but again, get your pen and paper. We're going to talk about it. Scanner messages. Scanner messages. Now, when we take over, I've already talked with James about this. We're going to address this nationally, these scanner messages. Nobody has an idea from anybody about how to deal with scanner messages. Now, we talk about unsafe scanner messages, but just management communicating, harassing you on the scanner. To me, again, if it's anything that we're doing on the street and you're watching me, that's a clear violation of 134 of the M39 handbook, clearly. And so nationally, we're going to address this. And so that we'll have something in your hand when this happens. And we'll try to get this knocked out. But there's not enough emphasis put on protecting our carriers from these crazy-ass managers on the scanner. And this is an example. Here's one. You just demonstrated yesterday that you had 1.5 hours plus pivot time. So how are you 1 hour behind today with similar volumes? Now you're being investigated. Do not answer that. Period. You're being investigated. Okay? I'll read it again. You just demonstrated yesterday that you had 1.5 hours plus pivot time. So how are you 1 hour behind today with similar volumes? Now remember all that. How are you 1 hour behind today with similar volumes? Similar volumes. Now, did they give you an efficiency count? Or are they going by a linear measurement? If they're going by a linear measurement, that's DOAS. That's PET. That's linear measurement. That's the reason we don't go by DOAS and PET, because it's not an accurate count. It's a guesstimate. It's based off of a ruler. 1 foot equals this, right? On letters, 1 foot equals this on flats. And so when they say you're 1 hour behind today with similar volumes, that's DOAS. Hang on to that. Here's another one. You have less DPS and cased mail than yesterday. Left 20 minutes earlier than normal time. So how are you 35 minutes behind? I'll read that again. You have less DPS and cased mail than yesterday. Left 20 minutes earlier than normal time. What's my normal time? So how are you 35 minutes behind? Behind what? I have no demonstrated performance, and you're going to see more and more of these things, demonstrated performance, come up, right? And so we're going to have to address that when they have these scanner messages. I'm going to grieve those scanner messages. All right? I have reporting requirements, correct? I have reporting requirements. That's how I know, let management know if I'm going to be over. That's the only thing contractually I'm obligated to do. And the only thing management contractually obligated to do is give me a disposition on my 3996. When you're spying on me and using covert techniques, watching me on the street, and you come across with these scanner messages, why are you this amount behind? In the middle of my day. I've got numerous issues with that. Like I said, when we take over, we're going to address it. But reporting requirements, section 131.41 and 131.42 of Handbook M41. It requires you to orally inform your manager when you believe you cannot carry all the mail distributed to your route in 8 hours within your normal schedule. That's my only requirement. That's it. I come in, I stick my mail. I've got an 18 and 8 standard. I pull down, I go to the street. Standards are over with after that. I have no load standard. I have no set pace at which I must walk. We'll cover that. Okay? So once I hit the street, it's on me. Every day's a new day. There is no demonstrated performance, but you're going to see more and more of these things. So 131.41 and 131.42 of the M41 Handbook is my only requirement. And I'm going to go through a bunch of these step fours, and we do it all the time. You've probably memorized them. 00385. These are not in numerical order. I just lumped them up. 00385. The information presented in this case establishes that the grievant was approached by a supervisor and told that she was not making standard. She was not being disciplined at this point, but rather was being advised as to what the supervisor felt he had observed. Such action in and of itself does not constitute a violation of the terms and conditions of the national agreement. Therefore, the grievance is denied. It is acknowledged that the proper stipulated manner for determining the efficiency of an employee and whether or not the employee is in fact meeting standards is to conduct a one-day count as provided in Handbook M39 and M41. Under the circumstances presented in this case, it is not shown that such a formal approach was necessary or that management was seriously questioning the efficiency of the grievance. Now, I've got 2 scanner messages that clearly demonstrate you're questioning my efficiency. Right? Why are you behind? With the same volume. Why are you doing this? So I'm going to grieve that. So M385. Now the reason we're putting all these in there is to show an arbitrator I have no standard and there's a clear, distinct manner in which management must test my efficiency. And it's not to eyeball it, which is what they're doing. And you're not going to harass me. This is a clear grievance of 115.4 of the M39 Handbook. You're harassing me on the street. You have to maintain a mutual respect atmosphere with me. And I don't think that this does it. M829. This is one of the most important ones. M00829. The question raised in this grievance is whether management may discipline a letter carrier for expansion of street time and or authorized overtime using data obtained by management during a one-day inspection of the carrier's route. Read that again. The question raised in this grievance is whether management may discipline a letter carrier for expansion of street time and or authorized overtime using data obtained by management during a one-day inspection of the carrier's route. After further review of this matter, we mutually agreed that no national interpretive issue is fairly presented in the particulars evidenced in this case. Under Article 16, no employee may be disciplined except for just cause. In this instance, the parties agree that a one-day count and inspection may not be used as the sole basis to establish a standard at which a carrier's performance may be measured for disciplinary purposes, and you can take out the disciplinary purposes. Sole basis to establish a standard against which a carrier's performance may be measured. Okay? Again, we have no street standard. We have no demonstrated performance. When they're saying, hey, you've had the same mail yesterday as today, why are you 35 minutes behind? First off, I'm not going to answer that. But secondly, they're trying to set up a demonstrated performance or show a demonstrated performance on you. We have no demonstrated performance. All of these things are going to be in the case file. All of them. Okay, so we're going to show an arbitrator who may be new to the panel. He may not have an idea what demonstrated performance even means. She may not know that we have no street standard. We have to educate the arbitrators. Look, I've got an 18-8 standard in the office. And that's based off of a piece count, not linear measurement. That's based off of a one-day 1838C piece count. They didn't do that. The reason that's important is because I can come in one day and I can have 2,000 pieces in a foot. And y'all know what I'm talking about if you've delivered for any period of time. Another day I could have 20. That's just how it is. So that's the reason you have to do a piece count, not a linear measurement. I'm going to ask for the 1838Cs in this grievance I'm going to file on the scanner message. Request all the 1838Cs and all the 4584s, right? I'm going to ask for both of those things. They're not going to have them. M0005. The matters presented as well as the applicable contractual provisions have been reviewed and given careful consideration. The grievance mail was not counted to determine their efficiency in this instance. Data from the counts were not, nor will they be used as the basis for disciplinary action. Consequently, the grievance case is considered to be closed. Again, this doesn't have anything to do with discipline. This is solely about management's procedures. The grievance mail was not counted to determine their efficiency in this instance. And that's what we're going to use. You don't know if I'm being efficient or not. You don't know how I'm delivering. There's no way of you knowing anything other than demonstrated performance based off of similar volume, and that's DOAS. M00304, and this is the street standard. Each of these cases involve a disciplinary action as a result of route management. In keeping with the principle of a fair day's work for a fair day's pay, it is understood that there is no set pace at which a carrier must walk and no street standard for walking. That's important for the arbitrator to know. Okay, so when you send me a scanner message saying what you said, right, I have no street standard, which means I have no demonstrated performance. Every day is different. Here's the most popular one, N1769. The subject office efficiency tool is a management tool for estimating a carrier's daily workload. That's what they're doing when they say, hey, you have similar volume. The office efficiency tool in the Greater Indiana District, any similar time projection system tool, will not be used as the sole determinant for establishing office or street time projections. That's exactly what's happening in these scanner messages. Accordingly, the resulting projections will not constitute the sole basis for corrective action. This agreement does not change the principle that pursuant to section 242.332 of the Handbook M39, no carrier shall be disciplined for failure to meet standards except in cases of unsatisfactory effort, which must be based on documented, unacceptable conduct that led to the carrier's failure to meet office standards. Furthermore, stated in the agreement for this case, there is no set pace at which a carrier must walk and no street standard for walking. That covers 100% of the time we're on the street. That covers our loading. I have no standard. That covers my delivery from point to point. We have no standard. Somebody said 30 seconds the other day. No. That covers parcel delivery. Manager came out and said 1 minute. No. There's no set pace at which a carrier must walk and no street standard for walking. Period. From the time I clock to the street to the time I clock back to the office, I have no street standard. There is no time associated with anything at all. Here's another one, M1444. 1444. Daily peace counts recorded in accordance with the above referenced systems will not constitute the sole basis for discipline. However, daily counts recorded in accordance with these procedures may be used by the parties in conjunction with other management records and procedures to support or refute any performance-related discipline. This does not change the principle that, pursuant to Section 242.332 of the M39, no carrier shall be disciplined for failure to meet standards except in cases of unsatisfactory effort, which must be based on documented, unacceptable conduct that led to the carrier's failure to meet office standards. Furthermore, the pre-arbitration settlement, dated there, provides that there is no set pace at which a carrier must walk and no street standard for walking. That's M1444. I'm going to read this first part again. Daily peace counts recorded in accordance with the above referenced systems will not constitute the sole basis for discipline. However, daily counts recorded in accordance with these procedures may be used by the parties. They didn't count my mail. They had a linear measurements how they're counting the mail. M1458. M1458. And I'm going to use this one as well. Okay? Management Service Point, MSP. Now, there's nothing after this one. Management says, hey, that's antiquated because it's dealing with MSP points, MSP scan points. There's nothing that management has put in or agreed to after this one, talking about scanner data. So anything that comes off of that scanner, stationary events, anything like that, I'm using 1458. The Managed Service Points Initiative is a national program intended to facilitate management's ability to assess and monitor city delivery route structure and consistency of delivery service. The following reflects the parties' understanding of MSP. The parties agree that management will determine the number of scans on a city delivery route. Time credit will continue to be given during route count inspections and will be credited in total street time. MSP does not set performance standards either in the office or on the street. And that's what I'm using. MSP, scanner data, does not set performance standards either in the office or on the street. So anytime they're saying, hey, you were this far yesterday and this far today, and they're in the office doing it, that's a violation of 1458 because you're going off of scanner data. It doesn't set performance standards either in the office or on the street. You cannot say, hey, yesterday at this point, you're in this location. Now you are 20 minutes behind. Now, how are you seeing that? You're seeing that because you're in the office, right? Your fat ass is in the office, and what are they eating? They're eating a bag of Funyuns. Okay, so I actually had some. This is pretty damn cool. We were up in Washington State. And this gentleman comes up and says, hey, I got this gift for you. Now, take this back and give it to management. And I said, okay. So look in it. It's a bag of Funyuns. Now, that's perfect. And the gentleman who did that, I appreciate you, brother. That was a much-needed laugh. And that was fantastic. But yeah, gave me a bag of Funyuns. He said, take this back and give it to management. And so I love that. But anyway, they eat Funyuns. I love Funyuns, but they eat Funyuns. And so, remember that. Anytime they're saying that, hey, look, on the scanner, yesterday you were at this point. Why are you 20 minutes behind today? They're doing that on scanner data. When they talk about stationary events, they're looking at that. So, MSP does not set performance standards either in the office or on the street. You can't tell me where I'm supposed to be each day based off of scanner data. M1391. And this one will go when we do our files, and I'll have the step 4s in there. This one will go on the very top. Okay? Because if I'm a new arbitrator and I'm start handing these step 4s, I'm going to say, what is this? This isn't an arbitration decision. This isn't contractual language. Yes, it's contractual language. We're going to include it into the file through Article 19. But M1391, Mr. Arbitrator, if I'm doing my closing or doing my opening and he asks about them, in my closing, I'm definitely going to use it. But M1391, as a result of our discussions, the parties agreed that there is no dispute between the parties that Step 4 grievance settlements are precedential and binding unless otherwise agreed between the national parties. So these are no different than contract language. Okay? Now you're going to get them into the file through Article 19. But I'll read that again. As a result of our discussions, the parties agreed there's no dispute between the parties that Step 4 grievance settlements are precedential and binding unless otherwise agreed between the national parties. And that will let the arbitrator know that what you're looking at here, these Step 4s, is contract language. They're binding, okay? We're bound to it. They're bound to it. You go down to 134 of the M39 when we're talking about them saying, hey, look, you were here yesterday. Today you're here. How do you know that? How do you know that I'm behind? How do you know that I'm ahead? How do you know I'm sitting anywhere? 134 of the M39 handbook. Right? We beat this to, and we're taking that when we take over, we're taking this to national arbitration. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. Win or lose, we're taking this to national arbitration because I'm the only one who's got language to protect my position. They do not. They can't use Article 3. They can't use Article 3 because I've got clear language that will defeat their Article 3 argument. Okay? And here's the clear language. When you talk about scanner messages saying, you're behind. You're behind. I'm going to file a grievance under 134 of the M39 handbook. 134.2 techniques. 134.21 the manager must maintain an objective attitude in conducting street supervision and discharge this duty in an open and above board manner. You shooting me a message saying I'm behind is not that. 134.22 the manager is not to spy or use other covert techniques. That's the easiest sentence in the country to show management's responsibilities. I can't show an arbitrator any more clearly, plainly, the do's and don'ts of that. Your manager is not to spy or use other covert techniques. Now, how do you know what I'm doing if you're sitting in office? How do you know if I'm behind? Any employee infractions are to be handled in accordance with the section of the current national agreement that deal with these problems. 134.3 criteria for needs. Certain criteria may call attention for individual street supervision. That means get up off your fat ass and come see me. When overtime or auxiliary assistance is used frequently on a route, foot, motorized, parcel, post, collection, relay. When a manager receives substantial evidence of loitering or other actions or lack of action by one or more employees, or when it is considered to be in the interest of the service, the manager may accompany the carrier on the street to determine the cause, or meet the carrier on the route and continue until such a time as the manager is satisfied. So if you're looking on your computer and you see something, you can come out there and you can follow me. It does not say sit at the desk and call the man or call the carrier or harass them through the scanner. It doesn't say any of that, right? All right. So that's going to do it for this week. With James on, that's going to take me right up to about an hour. That's kind of how I want to stick to it. Maybe a little shorter. But next week, I got a lot of things. Locally generated forms. People will send me some welcome back packets. I've already dealt with that. We'll talk about it again. 204Bs trying to circumvent the language, the 120-day language. I'm going to cover that. These are screenshots I've got. And we'll cover that Monday as well as some other things. But I got to get going right now because I'm headed up to Knoxville to talk to them with Dana Chambliss, who is running for business agent on the CLC slate. So, hey, we're busy. We're busy, right? But we're going to turn this thing around. Y'all be proud of the NALC again, I promise. We're bringing fight back to this thing, and every person is accepted here. And it's very, y'all need to understand that. Every person is accepted here. Everybody. You've got a place at this table. That's how it's going to operate when we take over. No more ostracizing anyone of any faith, religion, sex, color, creed, political affiliation. The days of us ostracizing people and demeaning people are over. I know a lot of people are like, oh, you've done for 2 years. Look, I had an agent that turned on us. And so I turned on them. The rank and file is the only thing that's important to me. light blue. That's it. Did I go off on my agent? You're damn right I did. And I would do it again. Because you're supposed to protect me and my people, and you didn't. I had a president call a very good friend of mine a bitch. And the same executive council say that that's not substantial. At no time ever should we feel comfortable with a gentleman calling a female a bitch. And so I went off. And so I called people out of their name for a long time. But you show me how you want to be treated, and I'll treat you as such. But you're not going to talk to my friends like that and disrespect them, especially this young lady who's going through such a hard time with the murder of her son. And so a lot of people are like, Corey's been calling people stuff. You're damn right. You're damn right. But the one thing we have to do is a craft, light blue, is we've got to come back together. Okay? Now, they're going to keep coming after me. It's all they can do. They will come after me up until the ballots come out. They're going to come after me. They've got to. They've got to. I've been a disruptor for too long. So they will come after me. It's okay. It's all right. I'm begging you and pleading y'all to come together. Okay? Let's quit calling people names on social media and making fun of people. I can't. Everybody's grown, right? Everybody's grown. So I can't make a grown person do anything. But I can ask that you come together. Okay? Run on your platform, whatever you want to do. I know that they're going to keep coming after me for whatever. That's just how it's going to be that way. I know it. Y'all should know it. You don't have to defend me on social media. I'm fine, I promise you. The best thing that's ever happened to me is my beautiful bride is the exact opposite of me politically. And so she has helped refine my rough edges. She's helped me with that in our conversations to kind of work on those rough edges I've got. And I do have rough edges, but I'm adamant about my position, but I love you like blue. I promise you that. And so we're going to take care of things, but I beg you, please, love each other. That's all we've got, man. If we're going to accomplish what we're going to accomplish, and we will love each other with everything that you got and protect each other and defend each other. Politics is an ugly thing. It's ugly and mean and all this stuff, and we will come out on the other side of it. I promise you that. There are people that hate me. They despise me. I love you. I love you, and I'll tell you that to your face. I love you, and if anything happens, trust me, I will get there with bad intention if somebody trying to harm you. Okay? And that's just the way it's going to be with this new administration when we take over. We are bad intention, and so it's coming. But y'all be kind to each other, please. I know that's not going to stop it, but respect each other. Be kind to each other. All right? I love you. And I'll talk to y'all Sunday. We're going to have 4 business agents on the CLC slate. You're going to enjoy that. We got some highly talented individuals, okay? And I'll talk to y'all later. I love you. Bye.